Brakati Yahweh, Brakati Yahushai, Brakati Yahweh, Brakati Yahushai, Brakati Yahweh, Brakati Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rachak Wadash. That belongs to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone True Well. Salutations to the whole for the elect out there. You Akim, this is the Akim that do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. I'm the priest Shaman. This week's topic is going to be entitled Obedience is Better Than Sacrifice. It's better to obey than to sacrifice. Low-key, I was inspired about his Deacon Hakah situation. The Most High got his his ex-wife, one of his ex-wife, pretty much doing a tell-all. Turns out this guy was saying things like, you know what, we'll make us more money if we teach the Gentiles can make it. I mean, that's just the context of what she said. Could there be more to that in terms of he said it, then immediately started doing that? Who knows? You know, who knows? She also said she was not cool with him. She was not cool with him changing the name of the Lord, which was totally wicked. Again, this is a woman, so women are very manipulative. She could be saying these things knowing the type of reaction that it would get. Of course, cause most people to do videos against him, because right now the Most High got the spirit on this woman to just try to take this man down at any and all cost. But as you watch these videos and you see between the lines, you can say that this woman is very, very rebellious nature. Very rebellious nature. She's trying to teach other women to be rebellious. Or if your man ain't doing it, you go to, first of all, going to another man for counsel on your relationship is just purely wicked. If that man is not your father or your brother, you should not be doing things like that, right? So that's just totally off. But then I thought to myself, yes, this woman is rebellious, and the Most High made her very rebellious, but why? Because this guy, Deacon Hakah, is a very rebellious person against the Most High. So, the same way his woman is behaving, being a rebellious demon against him to ultimately expose him, the Most High had that happen because you are a rebellious demon against the Lord. Talking about the name of the Lord doesn't matter. We shouldn't be calling on the name of Yahweh Shah. The nations can make it. You niggas are rebellious. You could have eat romaine lettuce. Romaine lettuce is not a fucking bitter herb, man. You know what I'm saying? And the list goes on. So the Most High rather a man or individual just listen. Exodus 19:5 says, "Now therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine." So if we'd have just listened, all this stuff, sin, the beginning of sin, going back to the woman in the garden and then Adam following suit, us being under these curses, all starts from the stem of just us not obeying. You know what I'm saying? We did our own thing. You're not supposed to do your own thing. You're supposed to do what you're commanded to do. This is the book of Hosea, chapter 6, verse 6. It says, "For I desired mercy and not sacrifice, and the knowledge of the Most High more than burnt offerings." Right? And I'm going to go into the situation with King Saul. It's better to obey than to sacrifice. That's what the scriptures say. And not only is it scriptural, it's really sound wisdom. I'm talking about situations outside of the scriptures. How many times have you, you heard this, they didn't have this, so I got you this. In your mind was like, but did I even tell you I want that? You know what I'm saying? So sometimes, you're working with somebody, you give them a particular task to do with a job, they come back, I know you said this, but I did this instead. I'm like, why would you not do what I told you to do? You know what I'm saying? So that's how the Most High feels. And that's what we ought to do to the best of our ability, because in these chains of darkness, you're gonna go off. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it sucks. That's why we want to get these bodies changed, but you're gonna go off. But to the best of your ability, try to obey the Most High as much as you can. Pray. Hey, how about you, man? I pray that I obey your laws, statutes, and commandments. And you women out there, all right? Because going back to this situation, a lot of these women are jumping on the comment boards. You should be obeying your husband. Okay? That's one thing that I don't like about that whole thing. Is like, there's no woman and children to the front and they working with the Lord. That's not how the Most High set things up. The Most High set things up with him, Yahushua, the husband, then the wife. That's the hierarchy of things. When you call yourself going over your husband to go straight to the Lord or what have you, all right, again, you're not being obedient. There's something my father told me, man. I tell these guys every week, or every other week when we do these orientation processes, right? At one of my jobs, right? My dad, when I was young, and I forgot the topic we were talking about, but we were going into that, like listening and following instruction. He said it in Jamaican, but I'm gonna say it in English. He took a remote. I'm gonna say it in Jamaican. He took a remote. And said, and he put it on the table and said, "Yo, Nigel, if I'm on television, put something so, no, put it so." So he put the remote straight. He put it flat. He said, if a man tells you to put a remote like this, for example, or he said something like this, don't do it like this. And all he did was just turn it slightly, you know? I was like, yo, that thing stuck with me for the rest of my life. I was like, that's so true. You know? Going on. Now let's get into this account with Samuel. This is the book of 1 Samuel chapter 15 verse 10. Then came the word of the Lord unto Samuel, saying, It repenteth me that I have set up Saul to be king, for he turned his back from following me and hath not performed my commandments. And it grieved Samuel. Read that again. It repenteth me, verse 11, 2 Samuel 15 and 11. It repenteth me that I have set up Saul to be king, for he turned back from following me and hath not performed my commandments. And it grieved Samuel, and he cried unto the Lord all night. Right, because, you know, Saul was a tall Benjamite. Scripture says the man was handsome, was loved amongst the people. He was on point, man. He was on point in the beginning. He had all the outer looks of it, right? Of what it looked like to be a king. And in one moment, he disobeyed the Lord. And when he disobeyed the Lord, he didn't think he was disobeying the Lord, because he was told by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, you see, I want you to go over there and I want you to kill every single last Amalekite. You know what he did? He went over there and said, you know what, man, we could make servants of them. We could do this, we could do that. In his mind, he's thinking he's doing something right. But it wasn't right. It pissed the Most High off, because I gave you a specific commitment. Think about it. Think about it like this. If you'd have listened right now, we wouldn't even been in this predicament with the Amalekites. You see how one man's disobedience could fuck it up for everybody? Literally time and time again in the scriptures. You see? So every time we're about to put our hand forth to something, we should think, am I following what I'm supposed to be doing right now, or am I doing my own thing? Verse 12. And when Samuel rose early to meet Saul in the morning, it was told Samuel, saying, Saul came to Carmel, and behold, he set him up a place, and it is gone about and passed and gone down to Gilgal. And Samuel came to Saul, and Saul said unto him, Blessed be thou of the Lord. I have performed the commandment of the Lord. No, you didn't, dude. No, you didn't. You didn't kill every single last one. You killed some of them. You got to kill every single last one of them. You got to do exactly as you're fucking told, man. 14. And Samuel said, What meaneth then this bleating of the sheep in mine ears? Right, because you're supposed to kill the sheep. No, I want to kill the I want to keep the livestock. You're supposed to slay everything, dude. So Samuel's like, wait a minute, you were told to go over there and kill everything. Why am I hearing sheep? It says, bleating of the sheep in mine ears, and the lowing of the oxen which I hear. Right, you kept the sheep and the oxen. You kept the livestock. And Saul said, they have brought them from the Amalekites. Yo. For the people spared the beast of the sheep and of the oxen to sacrifice unto the Lord thy power, and the rest we have utterly destroyed. No, you see, that's the problem. That's the problem. You were told to kill everything. Nah, we're gonna save the cattle to sacrifice to the nigga. You ain't do what you was told to do. That pisses the Heavenly Father off tremendously. Okay? We want to do exactly as we are told. You see? Then Samuel said unto Saul, stay, and I will tell thee what the Lord has said to me this night. And he said unto him, say on. So he's not, see, that's what I'm telling you. He in his mind, I think he was doing something good. He didn't think he was doing something malicious. You see? But he really was. You doing your own shit, so, you know? And so he's going to tell him, you know, what the Lord told him in a dream. 17, and Samuel said, when thou wast little in thine own sight, wast thou not made the head of the tribes of Israel? Yeah, didn't I make you king? And the Lord anointed thee king over Israel. And the Lord sent thee on a journey and said, go and utterly destroy the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight against them until they be consumed. Wherefore, right? So that was your commandment. That's what you was told to do, right? Verse 19. Wherefore then didst thou not obey the voice of the Lord, but didst fly upon the spoil, and didst evil in the sight of the Lord? You know what I'm saying? That's evil to the Most High. I know in your mind you're like, yeah, I want to make the sacrifice. I'm going to keep the oxen so we can sacrifice unto you. Thank you for this victory. Do I for this victory, Lord? No, that's not what I told you to do. I told you to put the remote like this, and you put the remote like that. You see? Verse 20. And Saul said unto Samuel, yea, I have obeyed the voice of the Lord, and have gone the way which the Lord sent me, and have brought Agag, the king of Amalek, and have utterly destroyed the Amalek. And you brought the king. Why would you? Yo, Saul, what are you doing? What are you doing? You was told to kill everybody. Now you brought King Agag. Oh, man. 21. But the people took of the spoil sheep and oxen, the chief of the things, which should have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice unto the Lord thy power in Gilgal. So he's trying to explain himself here. Yeah, this was Samuel's response, man. This is just the title of the whole show, man. It says, and Samuel, let's see. Pardon me, Joachim, just had to make it through this narrow passage. 22, and Samuel said, hath the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Right, so the Most High delight more in you listening exactly what I was told, man. You know, like, in other words, if I tell you to do something and you do something else, I'd rather you just say, look, I wasn't able to do what you told me to do. You see? Because at least you followed the exact words you were told. And Samuel said, hath the Lord a great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Salakia. Hopefully it stays on. Okay, it did. It says, verse 22, for Samuel said, hath the Lord has great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you the situation at the job, right? This one, our job got specific colors, right? That you're supposed to wear. I'm not gonna say those colors. It's like the color of the company, right? This guy comes in with a different color shirt that doesn't fall in line with the company colors. So the rest of the guys go, yo, can't you get us those colors? Can't you get us those colors? I said, well, you know, somebody I spoke to said Hey, I know you got different colors earlier, but this is what we want to do. We want to make it this color. She told me that one time. Then, mind you, I had placed the order before she had told me. So then she had to tell me a second time. So this was over like a year ago. So we discussing in the manager's meeting, and the situation get brought up again. Now, once I got some true understanding as to why that particular location have different colors and we don't, I said, I do not want to go different colors because it will look like I'm undermining what this person has told me. I'll be doing my own thing. And the director totally understood, you know, because if I'd have got multiple colors, that would please a lot of people, but I wouldn't be doing what I was told, you know, and you have to do what you're told, you know, even in the world, you know what I'm saying? It just works better that way. 23, for rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. So being a rebellious individual is like witchcraft, man, you know. And stubbornness is an iniquity and idolatry, right? So do what the Lord tell you to do, okay? And with this whole situation with Deacon Hakal, I truly understand that the Most High is using this woman, all right? But that does not negate the fact that this woman is a very rebellious woman, you know, and that's not how you sisters should be conducting yourself, all right? Granted, yes, Hakal's a wicked ass nigga. I'm fully aware of that, and the Most High is using this woman to expose her, you know. But you know, broadcasting, you know, your affairs and relations, showing text messages and all that on the World Wide Web, that's totally wicked, man. It says, for rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is an iniquity and idolatry, because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he hath also rejected thee from being king. And just like that one move took this man from being blessed in the eyes of the Lord, you know, to being cursed in the Most High. And that rebellious spirit stayed with him, you know. That rebellious spirit stayed with him when you later on read the accounts of Saul. So with that, I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashim Rakha Kodash, the belongs to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone True Well. Citation to the hopeful elect out there. You Akim to Zadakim, the thing that most truth and sincerity. Shalom.